All right, we're going to do Gimel Amud Beis, starting the bottom of Gimel Amud Aleph. The Gemara yesterday had said that the Torah chooses to use a nicer phrase whenever it can, and the proof to this was in the fact that when it talks about a zav and a zava, it talks about them riding on an animal. It talks of a zav, a male, riding, and when it talks about a zava, a female, it talks about sitting, because it's a nicer term to say that she's sitting because if she's sitting side saddle is more tznius than if she were to be riding it with one leg on either side. So the Gemara challenges us and asks, Isha, 3 lines from the bottom, Isha like Siv Ba Merkav? And when it comes to women, does the Torah not describe her riding? It says that Rivka and her maidens got up and they rode on the camels, and it uses the term riding, not sitting. The Gemara answers, over there it's different because they're riding on camels, and camels, as Rashi says, are very high, they're very tall, and it's scary. Falling off of that is no simple matter, and also there's really no great place to sit. It's no flat area there, right? So it's hard to really sit, and for a camel, so therefore it's normal to ride a camel even for a woman. The Gemara continues to ask, the pasuk says that Moshe took his wife and sons and rode them on a donkey. So here again we see the term riding, even though it's talking about Moshe's wife. The Gemara answers, Hasam over there, Mishum Banav Orchohu, since it's talking about the sons, so it's okay to say riding because it's referring to the sons, not to his wife. V'haksiv, the Gemara asks, it says, V'hira Cheves al hachamar, that it says when Bathsheba was going to see David HaMelech before they were married, so she was going to plead with him for saving her husband's life, and she went and rode on a donkey, and there it says the term riding. The Gemara answers again, over there it's normal because it was nighttime and it's scary, hard to ride at night because you can't really see where you're going. So therefore it'd be normal at night to ride in the normal way. The Ibai Sema, or if you want, you can say Mishum B'Yisusa Delelia Leka. There was no issue of riding at night, but Mishum B'Yisusa de Davidika. But rather she was afraid of meeting David. That itself was enough to make her want to sit more securely on the donkey. Ibai Sema, or if you want, you can say B'Yisusa de David Nami Leka. There also wasn't a scare of meeting David, but Mishum B'Yisusa de Har Ika. The scare was that she was riding up and down a mountain, and that is scary. So you want to make sure that you are secure. Okay. Now the Gemara continues and asks, Uba Ayraisa mi like siv tameh. In the Torah, does it not say tameh? Because the proofs that we brought yesterday were saying that it says loy tahar, it's not tahar, instead of saying the word tameh. But don't we find the word tameh in the Torah plenty? The Gemara says, you're right. Ela kol ninu. Whenever the wording is the same, meaning it's the same number of letters, then mishtoi b'lashon nikia. Then the Torah will specifically choose to use a cleaner phrase or word. But if it's going to take more words, then typically it will go with a shorter phrase. Meaning to say that yesterday we brought a proof that it specifically went longer and used more words and more letters. We brought up a whole bunch of cases and the reason for all of those is to show that where you can, it's always better to use the nicer phrase. But in general, the Torah will choose the shorter of the two, even if that means the phrase is not. Or he said that in the name of Meir. A person should always teach a student in the concise manner. Okay, period. So this way, the Torah always chooses the more concise phrase. Again, except when it's the same, then we'll use the nicer term, and the couple of places where it says it, even though it's longer, in order to teach us that principle of trying to use the nicer phrase. Now, the Gemara asks, is it true that when they are the same, it uses the nicer phrase? When the two words of riding or sitting are the same number of letters. And yet, the Torah specifically said riding. So why didn't it choose a nicer phrase? If it were anyway, it's the same number of letters, so why wouldn't it do that? So the Gemara answers, Recheves ksiv. It says Recheves without the letter Vav. So it's actually shorter to write writing, which is why it chose to use the word writing, because if you spell it without the vav, which is an option, then it is in fact shorter. Now, Taisos here asked the obvious question. Well, it could have said the word sitting without the vav too, right? It could have said yesheves without the vav, and it would also have been shortened by the same one letter. So why is this any better than that? So Taisos says that whenever it says the word yeshev without a vav, it's specifically to make a drasha from it. And we find wherever a Torah uses the word yeshev without a vav, it makes a drasha from that word. So here there's no drasha, so therefore it would not write yeshev without the vav, and therefore reichev without the vav is going to be shorter. Good. Okay. Next, the Gemara says, "Hani trei talmidi." There were two students to have a yasser kamed der Rav. They were sitting before Rav. Chad Amar Shavisinan Hashmaitza Kedavar Achar Misnakin. One student said, "This that we just learned, it makes me feel like a tired out pig." Chad Amar, and the other student said, "Shavisinan Hashmaitza Kegedi Misnakin." This topic that we just learned makes me feel like a tired out goat. Now, Rav did not talk to the first student because he used the term a tired out pig instead of a nicer term of a tired out kosher animal, like the second student said, and Rav held that against him and would not talk. Next, there were two students. These two students that were sitting before Hillel. One of them was Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Or some say it was actually that there were two students sitting before Rebbe, and one of them was Rav Yochanan. One asked, why is it that when we harvest grapes, we have to do it in a state of purity, but we don't need to harvest olives in a state of purity? The other one asked a similar question, and he said, why is it that we harvest grapes in a state of purity, but we harvest olives even in a state of impurity? So we see that he used a different word. He used the word tuma, even though he didn't have to. The first one said, this one we do in purity, this one we don't do in purity. This one, the second student said, this one we do in purity, and this one we do in tuma, in impurity. So Amar, either Rebbe or Hillel, said, Muftachani b'zeh shomer Rabbi Yisrael. I am confident that this other one, the one who said it properly, he will become a great teacher amongst the Jewish people. And it wasn't many days before either Rabbi Yochanan or Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai became a Pesach, a teacher amongst Klal Yisrael. And again, we see that this was hinted at in their proper usage of nicer terms. Okay, the Gemara continues with another story. There were three Kohanim. Chad Amar Lahu Higiyani Kipul. One said, I got from the Lechem HaPanim, the showbread that was divvied up amongst the Kohanim every week. Everyone got a little bit. So one of them said, I got the size of a bean. The Chad Amar Higiyani Kizayas. One said, I got the size of an olive. The Chad Amar Higiyani Kizanav Halta. He says, I got like a lizard's tail. So this was very peculiar for using that kind of term. The Badko Achot, so they checked after him, and Umatsu Ba Shemetz Psul. They found, in fact, that he had something wrong in his lineage, something wrong with his being a Kohen. The Gemara asks, what do you mean? The halacha is that once someone's serving in the Beis Hamikdash, you don't check about his lineage, because the fact that he's serving itself seems to be enough of a proof. The Gemara answers, they found something actually wrong with him, some actual problem with him. And the Rashi says that means that he had this trait of haughtiness, that he was talking that way, and he wasn't respecting the service, and therefore we got rid of him. And Taisus says it actually means that we found that he had served as a priest for idolatry, and that's how we got rid of him. But either way, we found there was an actual problem with him, and it wasn't about checking his lineage. Or if you want, you can say another answer, Shani Hasam the Iuda Aranafshay. That there was different, and we would in fact inspect his lineage because he said something that made us suspect that he was not of proper lineage. Because he said that, that gives us grounds to, in fact, check into it. Okay, the Gemara continues. Hahu Arma'a, there was an Armenian. Dahavusalik v'achel psachim b'Yerushalayim. He used to go up to Yerushalayim and eat the korban Pesach, pretending he was a Jew. Amar, and he said, the pasuk says any stranger should not eat it, and it says any uncircumcised man should not eat it. And I was given from the best parts of the carbon paste. So Amarle Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira said to him, Miko Safalach Me'alia, did they give you of the tail? Amarle Eloi, he said, no, they never gave me the tail. So Kisagas Hasan, he said, when you go back up there, Emalahu, tell them, Safali Me'alia, give me the tail. So, in fact, Kisalik, when he went up the next Pesach, Amarlahu Me'alia Safali, he said to them, hey, give me the tail. Amarle, they said to him, Alia, Ligvaya Salka, the tail, that goes up on the Mizbeach. That's not for people to eat, that goes on the Mizbeach to be consumed. So Amrulay, they said to him, Man Amar Lachachi, who told you to say this, to ask for the tail? Amarlu, he said to them, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira. So Amru, they said to themselves, My de Kaman, what's this going on in front of us? Who is this guy? Meaning, obviously, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira knew that the tail goes on the Mizbeach, so obviously he's trying to tell us something over here. So Baltku Basrei, they in fact looked into him, the Ashkechu, the Armahu, and they found out that he is in fact not Jewish and he is an Armenian, the Katluhu, and they killed him. So then Shochle Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira, they sent a letter to Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira as follows: Shalom lach Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira, Shalom to you, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira, Da'at ben Netziven, that you are in the city of Netziven, Mitzadasech Persa Yerushalayim, and your net spreads all the way to Yerushalayim. So Taisus asks a question over here. He says, well, the tail is only put on the Mizbeach if you're dealing with a lamb, not if you're dealing with a goat. A kid, the tail doesn't go on the Mizbeach, so he could in fact eat from that. So how does this all work? So Taisa says either the guy told him that he was having lamb, or because most people brought from lamb, so Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira assumed that. Then Taisa wants to know why Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira himself wasn't in the Beis Hamikdash at this time. Why wasn't he going up to be able to regal with everybody else on Pesach? Everybody has to go. He says he obviously wasn't well, or he wasn't, for whatever other reason, was exempt from going up to the Karban Pesach because of age or other exemptions he may have. Okay, the Gemara continues. Rav Kahana Chalash. Rav Kahana became ill. Shadra Rabbanu Rav Yeshua Berei Rav Idi. So they sent the Yeshua Rav Idi to him to go see how he was doing. Amrulay. They said to him, Zilbadike, go check my dine. What's going on with him? Also, so he came and he found that he had in fact already passed. So Kari Levushe, so he tore his clothing as you're supposed to do when a Rebbe passes away or a close relative, you do Kriya, so he tore his clothing. But then he turned it around so that it would be in the back so they wouldn't see it. And he came back crying. Amar Lei, so they said to him, Nach Nafshe, did he die? Amar Lahu, he said to them, I didn't say anything. And the person who says the bad news, he's a fool. Meaning, we don't want to say the bad news. So, of course, he had them figure it out. He came back crying, and he didn't dispute when they said that he died. But he doesn't want to be the actual bearer of bad news. You shouldn't actually say it. Rather, it's better to let them figure it out. Yochanan chakuka'a nafal l'kriyasa. Nafal l'kriyasa. So Yochanan chakuka'a, that was his name. Although Taisa says maybe it means he was a cipher. And he went l'kriyasa to out to the fields. Kiasa. So when he came back, Amrulay, they said to him, Chitin nasu yafas, did the wheat come out good? Meaning, has it grown properly? Amrulahem, he said to them, Sa'irim nasu yafas, the barley grew nicely. That was his way of saying, no, it didn't, but the barley's okay. So Amrulay, they said to him, say ubaser l'susim l'chamarim, go tell the horses and the donkeys that, meaning the horses and donkeys want to eat barley. We're not asking about the barley. Don't talk about barley. The barley and the straw, that's for the horses. So my Havila Meimar, the Gemara says, well, what should he have said? He was trying to say it nicely. What could he have said that would have been better? So he could have said, Ishtaked Nasu Chitin. He could have said, last year the wheat came out good. And that would also imply this year it didn't. Inami Adashim Nasu Yafis. Or he could have said the lentils came out good because that's a human food. And this way he would have avoided saying something negative, but still been talking about human food. All right, very good. See you tomorrow.
What are we doing?